6 tricks the devil plays on you through the narcissist. Have you ever felt like dealing with a narcissist was more than just being stuck in a toxic relationship? Like it was something much deeper, something darker, even sinister. If you've ever been involved with a narcissist, you probably know that the experience goes beyond simple manipulation or emotional abuse. It feels as if they drain the very life out of you, little by little, leaving you exhausted, confused, and doubting yourself at every turn. It's not just about arguments, mind games, or control. It's about something far more powerful working behind the scenes. And here's the unsettling truth. This isn't just by accident. What if I told you that the narcissist isn't operating alone? What if their actions, their relentless need to dominate and destroy, were being fueled by something much more dangerous? The devil himself is cunning, and he doesn't just attack people directly. He works through others, using them as tools to manipulate, deceive, and break down those who have the greatest light within them. Narcissists are the perfect vessels for this kind of destruction because they already lack empathy, thrive on chaos, and seek power over others. And once they have their hold on you, they will do everything in their power to make sure you stay trapped, lost, and disconnected from your true self. But here's the good news. The moment you recognize what's really happening, you begin to take your power back. You start seeing through the illusions, breaking free from the confusion, and reclaiming your strength. That's why today, we're diving into 6 tricks the devil plays on you through the narcissist. These are the tactics designed to keep you stuck, drained, and controlled. And trust me, you'll want to stay with me until the very end, because once you understand these tricks, you'll also learn the key to breaking free from them for good. Before we jump in, take a moment to support this message by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with anyone who might need to hear it. There are so many people out there still trapped in these toxic cycles, and the more we spread awareness, the more we help others break free. Now, let's get started. Number 1. The web of lies. Lies are the narcissist's most powerful tool, their sharpest weapon in controlling and breaking you down. Just as the devil is called the father of lies, narcissists act as his most skilled disciples, weaving deception into every aspect of their interactions. They don't simply tell occasional untruths or exaggerate details. They construct an entire false reality around you, trapping you inside a web of confusion, doubt, and manipulation. At first, the lies may seem small, little distortions of events, slight twists of the truth that you brush off as misunderstandings. But over time, you start questioning your own memory. Did that really happen the way you remember? Did you misunderstand what they said? Were you overreacting, just like they always tell you? These creeping doubts begin to take hold, slowly eating away at your confidence in your own perception of reality. This is gaslighting in its purest, most destructive form. A relentless attack on your mind and spirit, designed to make you doubt yourself so much that you begin relying on them for the truth. The more they distort reality, the harder it becomes for you to trust your own intuition. You start second-guessing yourself at every turn, and before you know it, you're no longer certain of what's real and what isn't. And that's exactly what they want. The moment they succeed in weakening your sense of reality, they gain full control. You stop trusting your instincts, your inner voice, the very thing that once guided and protected you. And when you no longer trust yourself, you become vulnerable, easier to manipulate, easier to control, and easier to keep trapped in their world of lies. Number 2, the trap of isolation. Have you ever noticed how, over time, the people who truly cared about you seem to fade away? At first, it felt natural. Life gets busy, schedules don't align, priorities shift. But looking back, You realize it wasn't just life pulling you away from them. It was the narcissist. Little by little, they worked to separate you from your friends, your family, and anyone who might help you see the truth about them. This is not a coincidence. It's a deliberate and calculated strategy. The devil thrives in darkness, and narcissists understand that if they can isolate you, they can control you. When they remove your support system, they strip away your strength, your clarity, and your ability to recognize what's happening. It starts with subtle comments, suggestions that your friends don't really have your best interests at heart, remarks about how your family is too controlling or judgmental. Then come the arguments, the guilt trips, the manipulation that makes you feel torn between them and the people who once uplifted you. Eventually, it gets to the point where reaching out to others feels exhausting, like more trouble than it's worth. As your world shrinks, so does your sense of self. You begin to rely entirely on the narcissist for emotional validation, approval, and even your sense of reality. The longer this continues, the more you lose yourself. You start to believe the narrative they've carefully crafted, that they are the only person who truly understands you, the only one who will stand by you. At this stage, breaking free feels impossible. Not because you aren't strong enough, but because they've spent so much time building a world where they appear to be your only option. They make you feel like you have nowhere else to turn, no one else who would understand. And that's exactly how they keep you trapped. Number 3. The mirage of false promises. Just as the devil tempted Eve in the Garden of Eden with the promise of wisdom and power, narcissists draw you in with grand illusions of love, success, and happiness. They are masters of deception, carefully studying your deepest desires, paying close attention to what you long for the most. Then, like a mirror, they reflect those dreams back at you, making you believe that they are the missing piece in your life, the person who will finally give you everything you've ever wanted. At first, it feels magical. They seem to understand you better than anyone ever has. They say all the right words, make all the right gestures, and convince you that this connection is special, even destined. They paint a beautiful future in vivid detail, one filled with passion, adventure, security, and love. They promise a life free from loneliness, a bond unlike any other, a love story straight out of a fairy tale. And because you so deeply want to believe in this dream, you do. But it's all a carefully constructed illusion. Every promise, every gesture of affection, every grand declaration of love is nothing more than a means to an end. They never intended to fulfill these promises. They only needed you to believe them long enough to become emotionally invested, to let your guard down completely. And by the time the cracks start to show, by the time you notice that their words and actions don't quite align, you're already caught in their trap. As soon as you start to question them, they shift the goalpost. They make excuses. They blame you for expecting too much, for being impatient, for misunderstanding. And just when you start to lose hope, they throw you another breadcrumb. A small display of affection, a sudden promise to change, a glimpse of the person you first fell for. It's just enough to keep you hooked, to make you believe that maybe, just maybe, things will get better. But they never do. And the cycle of hope and disappointment repeats endlessly, leaving you emotionally drained, mentally exhausted, and questioning how you ended up so lost in their illusion. Number 4. The energy drain. One of the most insidious, soul-crushing tactics a narcissist uses is their ability to drain your energy, your spirit, and your very sense of self. Have you ever noticed how completely exhausted you feel after being around them? How even a short conversation can leave you mentally foggy, emotionally unstable, and physically drained? This is not a coincidence, and it's not just emotional exhaustion. It's something far more sinister. It's a form of spiritual warfare. Narcissists don't just take up space in your life, they consume it. They feed off your vitality, sucking the joy, the peace, and the stability out of you like a parasite. Every interaction with them, whether it's an argument, a guilt trip, or even a simple conversation, slowly chips away at your energy. They create chaos, tension, and confusion, forcing you to constantly be on edge, overanalyzing their words, their moods, their behaviors. And the longer you stay in this dynamic, the more depleted you become. At first, you might brush it off as stress. You tell yourself you're just tired, that you need more sleep, that life has been overwhelming. But then, you start noticing other changes. You feel constantly anxious, even when nothing is wrong. Your mood swings become unpredictable. You feel drained even after a full night's rest. You may even develop unexplained health issues, chronic fatigue, headaches, digestive problems, body aches, things that never used to be a problem. This is no accident. The narcissist's goal is to wear you down to the point where you no longer have the strength to resist their control. When you're drained, you stop fighting back. When you're exhausted, you stop questioning their behavior. When you're weak, you become easier to manipulate. And that's exactly how they want you. Too tired to leave, too worn down to see the truth, too broken to reclaim your power. And yet, despite all of this, there is hope. The moment you start recognizing this pattern, the moment you understand what's really happening, you begin to take your power back. Because once you stop feeding their need for energy, once you cut off their supply, they lose their grip over you. And that is when true healing begins. Number 5, the grip of fear. Fear is one of the most powerful weapons in a narcissist's arsenal, and they know exactly how to wield it against you. Whether it's through the crushing silence of the silent treatment, the unpredictable fury of sudden outbursts, or the slow, suffocating grip of passive-aggressive manipulation, their goal is always the same: to keep you trapped in a state of uncertainty and anxiety. You may find yourself constantly second-guessing your words and actions, afraid that anything you say or do could set them off. Even when they're not around, their presence lingers in your mind, making you hyper-aware of their moods, their reactions, and their shifting behavior. You start to feel like you're walking on eggshells, never knowing when the next emotional explosion will come or what invisible rule you might break. Over time, this fear becomes so deeply ingrained that you begin to censor yourself without even realizing it. And that is exactly what they want, because when fear takes hold, your ability to think clearly starts to disappear. When you're constantly anxious, when your body is stuck in survival mode, you don't have the mental clarity or emotional energy to question what's happening. You stop trusting your own instincts, and instead, you focus entirely on keeping the peace, on doing whatever it takes to avoid their wrath. This is how they keep you trapped, making sure you never feel safe enough to stand up for yourself, to set boundaries, or to break free. But here's the thing about fear. It loses its power once you see it for what it is. Fear is an illusion, a tool used to control and manipulate. And the moment you recognize that the narcissist's power over you is built entirely on intimidation, you begin to take that power back. Because once you stop fearing their reactions, once you stop allowing their anger or their silence to dictate your emotions, their grip on you weakens. The fear that once kept you frozen starts to fade, and in its place, a new kind of strength begins to rise. Number 6, the ultimate attack, your faith and purpose. Out of all the narcissist's tricks, the most devastating and destructive one is when they attack your very sense of self, your faith, your worth, and your purpose. This is their endgame, the final act of their psychological warfare. Because if they can break your spirit, if they can make you doubt who you are and what you stand for, they win. It doesn't happen all at once. At first, it's subtle, small comments that make you question yourself, tiny remarks that chip away at your confidence. They plant seeds of doubt and despair, slowly making you wonder if you're truly loved, if you even matter, or if your life has any meaning at all. You may find yourself asking painful questions. Why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? Have I been forsaken? And that's exactly what they want, to make you feel so lost, so broken, that you can no longer see the truth. Because the truth is this: you were never abandoned. You were never unworthy. And no matter how much darkness tries to convince you otherwise, you have always been loved. The narcissist wants to steal your light because they have none of their own. They want to make you believe that you are powerless because they feel the strength you hold within. They want you to think that you are alone because the moment you realize you are not, their power over you vanishes. The darkness thrives on deception, and its greatest lie is that you are not enough. But the moment you recognize this deception, the moment you see through the illusion, everything begins to change. You are not weak. You are not forgotten. You are stronger than you know, and no amount of manipulation can take that away from you. The fight isn't over. In fact, it's only just beginning. And this time, you are stepping into it with a power the narcissist never wanted you to discover, the power of knowing exactly who you are. So what can you do? The first and most important step is recognizing these tricks for what they truly are: strategies designed to weigh you down, confuse you, and make you feel powerless. The narcissist's entire game depends on keeping you blind to their tactics. They thrive when you doubt yourself, when you don't see what's happening, and when you unknowingly play right into their hands. But the moment you start to recognize the pattern, everything changes. Awareness is the key that unlocks your freedom. Once you see through the deception, you take back your power, piece by piece, moment by moment. You begin to trust your instincts again, and with every realization, their grip on you weakens. The lies that once held you captive no longer have the same effect. The fear that kept you silent starts to fade. The confusion that clouded your mind begins to clear. You no longer react to their manipulations the way you once did, and that alone disrupts their control. They can only trap you if you continue to play their game, but the second you refuse to engage, the game falls apart. The next step is standing firm in your truth. The narcissist will try to pull you back in, to make you question yourself all over again. They may double down on their tactics, trying to make you feel guilty, afraid, or unsure. But this time, you see it for what it is: another attempt to manipulate you. Instead of falling into old patterns, you stand strong. You refuse to let their words or actions shake you. And when you call on God for strength, you tap into a power far greater than anything the narcissist can ever wield. The devil's tricks only work when you are unaware of them. But now you know the truth, and that truth will set you free. No matter how much darkness tries to consume you, remember that light always wins. No matter how strong the deception seems, God's power is always greater. You were never meant to stay trapped in a cycle of pain, fear, or self-doubt. You were created for more, for freedom, for love, for purpose. If this message spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, subscribe for more, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. You never know who might be struggling, who might be feeling lost, or who might need a reminder that they are not alone. Stay strong, stay aware, and never forget, no amount of deception can stand against the truth.